What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and happy Tuesday, people. Hope you are well. And listen, lots to talk about, lots of transfer news, and hopefully some big business to get completed this week, people. Obviously, the last stream was a big stream, very positive. The news was breaking of Gyokeres. We did that on Sunday. I didn't go live yesterday. I was out. I came back late. I looked at the news. Not a lot had really changed yesterday. And I don't like forcing content, as I always say, people. But big up to everyone. Almost on time, yeah. What was I? 4 minutes. Yeah, it's not great. Man's looking tanned. Yeah, that Marbella tan's still strong. You know, we got good weather here as well. So apparently it's going to be really hot this weekend. But big up to everyone locked in, man. Appreciate your support as always. We have got some updates today. So we're going to go into more detail. Big up the whole community locked in. Yo, big up Martin. Martin Ainscough, he'd gifted 5 memberships before we even went live, people. So big up your damn self. Welcome to the 5 new members. And we're going to do a member stream next week because we haven't done one for ages. And the tour actually starts next weekend. So, yeah, we're definitely going to do that. Aubameyang is on a free. Yeah, I just saw that. Mutual agreement. He's left his club in Saudi. Listen, as much as I love Aubameyang, that ain't who we're looking for. Maybe Man United. I saw Man United's hit list today, people. Are you ready for this hit list? Manchester United. Wilfred Ndidi from relegated Leicester. Jamie Vardy from relegated Leicester. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Callum Wilson. I mean, I tell you what, scary hours for Manchester United. We grew up on Cantonas, Rooney's and Ronaldo's. And then, man, talking about Callum Wilson and Jamie Vardy in 2025. Jesus. I'm telling you, that kind of made me feel a little bit lucky to be an Arsenal fan, but nah, I'm not going to give them no sympathy. They've caused us enough pain over the years, you know. Rooney diving at Old Trafford and all of that. Maybe they should sign Aubameyang, to be honest. He's probably better than every striker they've got. Man United told Amazon to do one. Well, Amazon are supposed to make, like, serious documentaries, all or nothing. I think that Man United one would be on the Comedy Channel. Amrim's probably saying, you can't put out an Amazon documentary of Manchester United because you're going to expose all kinds of foolishness. You know what I mean? The roof's leaking. Ronaldo don't rate the chef. Their training ground's old. They're looking at Calvert-Lewin. They can't put that out there. And they lost in a Europa League final and finished 15th. Put it on the Comedy Channel. Put Dave Chappelle in it. Put Chris Rock in it. Nah, man. United are a mess. MJ, I know you're probably... We've got him, people. We've got him. We've put the bait out there. We've got a live one. MJ. He said, big up Big C, 70 million for Victor Antonio. Your hit. Oh, Victor Antonio. He's just a flat track bully. You was on here capping for him, fam. You were saying Mbuemo, Cunha and Gyokeres. Now look. Now look. Sometimes you got to take the L, bro. I've seen multiple L's. As an Arsenal fan, you gotta take the L, bro. Trust me, man. You can't be a salty fan in football. This is how it goes. You've had a good time as a United fan. Now, just take your medicine. Calvert-Lewin or Jamie Vardy. That's where we're at with it, bro. That is where we're at with it. But anyway, Abba be doing that Adebayor celebration right up to Frotetta. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? He said, Victor Gyokeres in the building. He said, I left my gal and 2 million in wages. Still, these Arteta fanboys are questioning me. MJ, I'm going to... Oh, no. You're going mad. We can't be saying that. You lot are mad, you know. You lot are crazy. People always make up accounts of players. Nah, I was reading that out. We can't say that. Big up MJ, man. He's just, you know, he's finding it very difficult to let go of United's past. Bro, I'm right there, you know, as an Arsenal fan. Look at my background. This is my most regular background on a daily basis. It's Henry and Bergkamp. They're probably in their 50s now. They're still on my background. Why? Because Arsenal have not created a new time period that has made me so hyped out I'm going to put it on the background. So we're right there, bro. UK gold. This is only fools and horses. He's back. He said if Bastos can bag 40 in Portugal, any scrub can. Okay. Listen, whatever makes you sleep at night, be safe. Be safe. But by the way, he got what? Didn't he get like 100 in 2 seasons? So we're going beyond 40. Oh, and a hat trick against Man City and joint top scorer in the group stage of the Champions League. But whatever helps. Whatever helps. I love it. They used to laugh at us. Now they're salty about us. 4-4-2 with Marino and Gyokeres up top. We win a quad, says Lawrence. What are you going? Zuba Rice in the midfield too. That's, I know what you're saying. Marino would actually be a brilliant link-up striker if you played in a two. But then Arteta's going to have to drop Odegaard. He ain't dropping Odegaard, bro, under any circumstances. Adrian said, Big C, it's 5:30 in the morning in Cali. Cali! The West Side, big up your damn selves. Big up everyone locked in wherever you're at. Already got 1,500 of you locked in. And we haven't even started the show properly yet. So big up each and every one of you. Dre Vision said, I'm back, Big C. Took a break from Arsenal. Now I'm seeing them serious moves. It's got me interested. Listen, I said this on the show on Sunday. And I'll repeat it again. As fans, we deserve proper signings. We deserve some excitement. Like, Arsenal are putting themselves out there that look at us. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Our ticket is more expensive than most clubs in Europe. Merch all the time. They expect commitment financially, emotionally, time-wise. We're not getting back what we're giving to the club. If you go to a show and you pay crazy money for it, you expect that show to be a certain level, top quality. Or if you buy a clothing brand that costs ridiculous amount of money, not only is it supposed to look good, the quality of it's meant to be good. You're not meant to put it in the washing machine and it shrunk after one wash. This is my Louis V t-shirt. It cost me £800. What's going on? We're not getting what we're paying for. We're putting all this time and money in and we're going, oh, we came second. Oh, we didn't win anything. Oh, but at least, nah, man, I don't care if the atmosphere is great at the stadium. No disrespect to the people that go every week, right? I don't care if the merch looks great, the atmosphere in the stadium's great. I don't care if Win the Dog wags their tail when the new signing comes in. I don't care about the PR. I don't care about the photographer. I don't care where they're going on tour. I don't care about any of it. All I care about is, are you winning trophies at the end of that season? And if you're not, something is not right. Every now and then, cool. It didn't happen this year. Okay, it can happen. Even Man City didn't win a trophy this year. So anybody can not win a trophy. But 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, half a decade, no trophy. I ain't interested in the PR, the process, the phase, the dog, the merch, the tour, the stadium, the food, the drink, none of it. Win trophies or move on. That's all I'm interested in, people. That's all I'm interested in. So we need to see big players coming through the door. I don't know about anybody else. That Gyokeres news has given me optimism. It's given me optimism because I felt flat as an Arsenal fan. I know. Why do I always mention the dog? I actually feel quite bad for the dog. It's not the dog's fault. It's not the dog's fault. That dog ain't done nothing wrong. But Arsenal have put that dog in a position that catches strays every now and then. I am sorry. But yeah, it's one of them. But it's given me optimism. Listen, we go on tour next Sunday. I was like, I don't know if I'm going. I don't know if I'm going. I'm not going on tour to watch Havertz up front. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going on tour to watch Reece Nelson come on right wing. I'm not doing it. That's how I was thinking. I've got no optimism for that tour. All of a sudden, linked to Gyokeres, Eze, Rodrygo, I'm like, yo, I'm back. I'm back. I'm on the Armory store like, yo, what do we get? The tracksuit? Do we get the shorts and t-shirt? Little holiday? Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I've waffled long enough. We're 11 minutes in. I'm still waffling. Apologies to the dog. Win the dog. It looks like a decent dog, but, you know, the way Arsenal have PR'd it. Anyway, let's get into today's show. Big up to everyone locked in, man. Nearly 2,000 of you tuned in already. Big up the Twitch gang. We started the show the other day like this. It was the only way we could start the show. let's talk about the latest in terms of the deal. Where are we at? On Sunday, it felt like the deal was almost over the finish line. To be honest, I thought we were going to be sitting here today, probably already saying we've had the here we go. It is dragging out a little bit. All I can say is they cannot drop the ball on this deal, because I'm telling you now, Sunday you saw the positivity, the hype, the hope, and the happiness. If they drop the ball on this deal, you are going to see me crash out, because you can't get to this situation and then not get this deal done. Hopefully the deal happens. Let's break down some of the facts. But I trust him. Until he does something crazy, I do trust him. Edu's just been appointed by Nottingham Forest yesterday. I sent one of my Forest mates a message. I said, he's your problem now. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, give it time and you'll see. Funnily enough, they've sold Elanga the same day. I'm not saying that's Edu's fault, by the way, and that might be good business at 55 million. But, you know, I think we all know that Edu, I wouldn't say Edu left a legacy of a sporting director that is going to go down in the history books for the right reasons. I'm not saying everything is his fault, by the way, because some of those deals might have been Arteta's fault. But listen, Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta has held face-to-face talks with Sporting in Portugal to close in on a deal worth around £70 million for Victor Gyokeres. So you're looking at around £58 million up front and about 12 million in add-ons. My thought process is this. I'm looking at the facts. Not opinions, I'm looking at facts. You're looking at one of the best transfer negotiators in the world when it comes to buying strikers. We spoke about it the other day. Falcao, Luis Suarez, Diego Costa, Antoine Griezmann, Julian Alvarez. There's probably even more that I haven't mentioned. But this guy, when he flies out with the briefcase, with the shades on, Italian mafia boss settings, he means business. You can see from his track record at Atletico, when he flies out to complete deals, deals get completed. He doesn't fly back without the deal being finished. He gets the deals done. He's obviously said, listen, all this back and forth on the phone and emails, we're not getting it over the line. Book me a flight. I'm going to Lisbon. He has to come back with Gyokeres. He can't come back without him. Yeah, we don't really talk about the João Felix one. I'm not even just saying this, but they said he never signed João Felix. I don't know how true that is. Maybe they're just saying that to make his record look even better. And he has made some mistakes. Every sporting director does. I trust him to come back from Lisbon with that Gyokeres deal tied up. Paperwork signed, done deal. I expect him to get that deal tied up. If this was Edu, I'd say he'll probably fly to Lisbon and sign a player in a different position. Remember they was like, oh, Edu's flying out to sign Mudryk, and he flew back and signed Kivior. Looking back on that, he probably actually made the right choice, because Mudryk's been doing all sorts. Kivior's actually become a solid left centre-back. So who knows? Real bad man. 23, baby mother. You know what I'm saying? Andrea Berta, real bad man. Listen, he's going over there. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse, mate. But why am I saying, man, that's more Scarface. I'm meant to be doing Goodfellas. But you know what I mean? I trust him, people. I trust him to get this deal done. Yeah, I trust him to get this deal done. Berta's in Lisbon. Don't fly back until he's signed. That's all I'm saying. So I've got the faith. What I will say, people, is I've overcommitted. I've said things in group chats. I've said things online. I've said things in this YouTube channel. If we do not get this Gyokeres deal done, I'm in big, big trouble. Big, big trouble. You know what I'm saying? Big, big trouble, because it's made me feel like, yo, I swear that I was saying things like, yo, I think we can win it next year. I swear down, if I was like, not just Gyokeres, but I was like, if we get Gyokeres and, you know, if I see a Rodrygo and a Eze, I've overcommitted. Once you overcommit, you're in trouble, because if it goes wrong, they're going to come for me. So I've got carried away. And do you know what that is, people? It's the desperation. It's the desperation. I've sat here summer after summer going, oh, who are we signing? Oh, yeah, Calafiori. Okay. Who we got? Oh, we got Peter Cech from Chelsea. Oh, Danny Welbeck from Man United. Who? Lucas Perez. Oh, I finished so many summers just sitting there going, oh, God, another summer of disappointment. So when they go and actually get somebody that I really want, maybe I get a bit carried away. I'm looking at merch. I'm looking at next day delivery. I'm saying we can win the league. I'm doing the celebration. I don't know. I don't know, people. I don't know, but it feels good right now. I feel a little bit like I've got my swagger back as a man, as a man who has been disappointed many times. I've been quiet in group chats for years. I've been quiet because I'm there like I can't chat to these lot. But now I'm chatting rubbish all over the place. We are excited. Anyway, let's get the latest on the deal. Where are we at on the deal? Why has this deal not been completed yet? What is costing us getting this deal over the finish line? These are the details, and this has been confirmed by Fabrizio as well. This was in the Record in Portugal, which is a big newspaper outlet over there. Details of Arsenal's offer for Gyokeres at this moment. Arsenal's offer of 65 million euros fixed plus 15 million euros in additional add-ons or in add-ons, yeah. So we've offered 65 million up front in euros, 15 million in add-ons. Sporting Lisbon are insisting on 70 million euros guaranteed. Of the 15 million in add-ons, 5 million is tied to targets that are easy to achieve, making the probability of a total deal reaching 70 million very high. The other 10 million in add-ons, they rely on more difficult collective and personal goals. So I want to break this down. We're 5 million euros apart in this deal being done. If this deal does not get completed, this is a generational stinker of a deal not being completed. You're talking about around £4 million, 5 million euros. We've offered 65 and 15. They want 70 and 10. How do you not get out of Lisbon with that signature? It's impossible. Are you telling me Arsenal are going to allow 5 million euros to cost them a blockbuster deal? Because this is what this is. That's the reason we're so excited. This is a blockbuster deal. You cannot allow this to happen. Suarez settings all over again, says Dre. You know what I mean? They've probably offered 65 million and a pound to try and get the deal done. You have to get this deal done. Coventry City retain the right of 15% profit. Sporting Lisbon used a clause that would allow them to reduce that percentage, which they did reduce to Coventry's ratio to just 10. So Coventry are due 10% as well, by the way, of the deal. I mean, I think it's reasonable. If you look at 5 million is tied to easy, achievable add-ons, probably played 40 games or scored so many goals, very easy. The other 10 millions are quite difficult. So they're just saying they want a guaranteed 70 million euros and then 5 million in add-ons that are easy to achieve so that they'll get 75. Pay the money, sign the player and get out of there. You're right. The celebration is worth 5 million. Just sell masks in the shop. We'll buy thousands of them. We love merch at Arsenal. You have to get... Yo, we've got over 25 million followers on Twitter. Set up a GoFundMe. We'll pay the 5 million between the fan base. It's not even £1 each. What's going on here? Get the damn deal done. Stop messing around. Listen, I expect the deal to happen. Number one, Berta's over there. Number two, you're talking about 5 million euros, right? It's easy business. I don't even know why it's taking so long, you know, to be honest. We knew on Sunday it was advanced. Today's Tuesday. We should have Here We Go by now. He's given up 2 million euros in bonuses to get to the club. He said, look, them bonuses you owe me, keep them. I'll make bread at Arsenal. What you got to remember, usually when you sign for a top club, Premier League club, man said sell Arteta. You wouldn't get much for him, bro. If we're paying, 70 million for him, he'll get £7 million signing on fee. He's good. He might be losing 2 million euros, but trust me, he's going to benefit somewhere else. He's not going to lose out financially. The signing on fee, the wages, all of that is going to amount to him getting more than that back anyway. Just to give you a breakdown, he's on 50 grand a week in wages. What would you say he would get at Arsenal, considering he's going to cost about 70 million quid? He's on 50 grand. I would say he at least trebles his wages, maybe even more. I think you're looking at probably 200 grand a week. So he's probably going to quadruple his wages. He would get about £7 million signing on fee. Do you know what I mean? Plus bonuses and all sorts. So him giving up €2 million in bonuses, that ain't going to affect him in the slightest. All of his sponsorship deals will go up. Listen, if I was his agent, and again, I hope this doesn't happen, but the first thing I would be saying is, Havertz on 275, I'm 10 times a better striker than he is. So you better give me more than that. Our wage bill is a little bit worrying. I think in the next year, the wage bill will balance itself out. You get rid of Zinchenko, you get rid of Gabriel Jesus, you get rid of Havertz. Those are the players that are on massive money that don't even justify the money. Partey's gone as well. So you've got a lot of the players that were like getting 200 grand a week plus. You got to ease those guys out of the club and say, right, any player that is picking up that kind of money, they need to be one of the top players. You know, rather than players that should be nowhere near that. I think you'll get about 200 grand a week, to be honest. I think you'll get about 200 grand a week. But that's what you've got to pay for somebody that scores goals. Bruce said, Berta saved us from that Partey disaster class. I think that's difficult to pinpoint, Bruce, where and how that deal went wrong. Or I think what we can all agree on is that if Partey had signed a new contract, that story comes out while he's a signed Arsenal player, they are in absolute crisis. Now, I'm not saying they don't have any responsibility because he's been Arsenal's player for years, but what Arsenal have done, and you even look at the statement that they put out, was kind of said, he's not our player. It didn't happen. You know, the charges haven't been brought while he was contracted to Arsenal Football Club. So, however it worked out that he didn't sign or whether they offered him a lower deal or whatever, they've kind of washed their hands and said it's nothing to do with us. How you view that is your guys' opinion. You will let us know. Like, do you think Arsenal have some responsibility, or do you think, you know? Yeah, they've done an Arsene Wenger. Like, listen, I did not see it. They're doing one of them. They're doing one of them, but, you know, it is what it is. It is a serious matter, so let's see what happens. Anyway, let's move on to part 3 of the Gyokeres deal. Definitely dodged a bullet, that's for sure. That's for sure. Did it happen or false accusations? Well, that's what we've got to wait and find out when he goes to court. Either way, listen, let's just make one thing abundantly clear, right? And I'm just being honest. Certain accusations in life, even if you're found not guilty, they just is... People have no patience to wait and see whether you're innocent or guilty. You go to away ground, you hear what they're saying about him. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult, man, from all points of view. Anyway, third and final part of Victor Gyokeres' situation is that Simon Collins reported Victor Gyokeres is due to report for pre-season training on Friday. Sporting hope a deal with Arsenal can be agreed before then. So there's no possible way that this deal shouldn't happen. Our sporting directors in Lisbon, the player is desperate and even giving up money, and they actually want him to sign. They fly out to their pre-season training camp Saturday morning, Sporting Lisbon. They actually return to training on Monday. He's saying he doesn't want to come back. They don't want a situation where he comes back. They want him out the door to just stop the drama. I think what Sporting Lisbon have to remember, because I've seen a lot of people, I've seen some Arsenal fans actually criticising Gyokeres, saying They don't like the way he's handling it, the fact that he's threatening to go on strike, the fact of, publicly he's kind of pushing it. But I think people, even though I don't like all of that, I think you've also got to look at it and think clubs turn on players straight away and nobody ever defends the player. If you have a bad year or two and they get rid of you, nobody sits there and says, I feel sorry for the player, stay loyal to them. He's obviously had an agreement verbally that you can go at the end of the season. He's delivered them 2 titles and a double. They won the double last year. He delivered them that double. He scored in the cup final and he scored 39 league goals. We know over the years, people, Sporting Lisbon in the last 15, 20 years have not been a dominant force in Portuguese football. As far back as I can remember, it's been Benfica and Porto who consistently win the title. They've had years here and there where Sporting pick up trophies. He's delivered for them. They paid 20 odd million for him. He scored goals, won them trophies. They've given him an agreement that he can go, and they've turned their back on that. Now, I would say to anybody in any form of life, but particularly football, never trust somebody at their word in that kind of environment. He should have had that written into his contract. This where players are naive sometimes. The feel-good factor was there. Everyone's nice. You're scoring goals. We're winning leagues. Don't worry, bro. At the end of the season, 60 million will let you go. Then all of a sudden the season finishes. They're going, you know what? 60 million. We could do with 80 million. You know what I mean? And then it all changes. So same thing Harry Kane did wrong at Tottenham. When City came for him, I've got a gentleman's agreement. Well, Daniel Levy, bro, he ain't no gentleman. So you ain't going to be going for that. So players have to be smarter, man. You have to have this written into paper. Glamrock, by the way, big up for your birthday tomorrow, bro. I should be live tomorrow anyway, so if you're in the chat, we'll big you up. But happy birthday for tomorrow if we don't. If you're not in the comments, get it in writing. You have to. You have to, bro, because these guys, man, I'm telling you, football is a slimy industry. A lot of guys, man, in the boardroom in suits who you don't see. They're snakish people, man. They're looking after the club. They're trying to get money in their pocket. They're probably saying the more money we get for Gyokeres, the more we get out of it. And so there's all sorts of things. There's no real emotion in football. They're not looking at it going, do you know what, man? Gyokeres, he's delivered us 2 titles and a double. We owe him so much. He's desperate to go to Arsenal. Let's just make it easy for him to go there. They're not doing that. They want every single penny that they can get out of that deal. And that's football. It's a very dirty industry. So you have to have these things in contracts. MJ said, look at that talk from Lawrence, a quad. Deary me. Oh, and he said we can win a... You got to dream big, bro. I doubt very much we would win a quad. The only quad we'll probably win is the Emirates Cup. I don't know, the Singapore Cup. And maybe some pre-season trophies. But you never know. Maybe this season it changes and we start winning trophies. Bruce said, yeah. Berta, Richard said, let's remember, the only reason we are getting Gyokeres is because they don't want to pay for Sesko. Arteta wanted Sesko. I think Havertz starts at least the first 5 games over Gyokeres. I think you're spot on in the sense that... and people won't like this. The Arteta fans won't like this because... okay, if we sign Gyokeres, I've got to give him some credit for that deal. But if what we're reading is true, this was not his first choice. And like you're saying, they're not buying Sesko because of the price. So they've decided to say, look, Sesko at 90 million euros isn't worth it. We can get this guy for 70 million euros and we've only got to pay, or 80 million euros, but we've only got to pay 70 million up front. The rest is in add-ons. And Berta's saying, look, this is the guy I think. So it's almost like they've convinced Arteta. He's too expensive and Berta wants him. So he's gone, okay, go on then, give me Gyokeres. So they've had to convince him. And I've always said he wants Sesko because that's going to force his hand on the whole Kai Havertz situation. Because I don't think Gyokeres will accept just sitting on the bench. Where Sesko, I think, would have been easier to just rotate with Havertz. So it'd be very interesting if Havertz's time comes to an end or if he tries to fit him somewhere else in the team. Forever a gunner. Let's be honest, Berta is the best thing to happen to us this window. When we got him, when we were talking about him, I said if he is allowed to do his job, he will be one of the biggest signings this club have made in years. In years. You have to have a top quality sporting director. Simple as that. You have to. Manchester City sporting director has been elite for years, that Texie guy who they got from Barcelona. He is absolutely elite in that role. You look at Liverpool with Edwards and Hughes, they are absolutely different class. You know what I mean? They sell young players for 30 million. They get bargains. They get Luis Diaz on 55 grand a week. You have to have that sporting director. We've been running around with Gazidis and Edu for the last decade between them. It ain't going to happen. And if you look at Arsenal over the last decade, what's been the biggest problem? It's recruitment and it's selling players. We're terrible at selling players. We get nothing for players. And our recruitment's been absolutely dreadful. Gazidis didn't know nothing about football, so he was a stat-based sporting director. He signed Mustafi because he had the most interceptions in La Liga. That doesn't mean you're a good defender. That just means you win a lot of challenges, but you might win 100 challenges, but you might put 300 challenges in to win those 100. So you've got to look at percentages. He signed Nwaneri because Nwaneri had completed the most passes in Europe. But most of them passes were backwards and sideways. Nwaneri was not a progressive passer of the ball. So Gazidis was losing his head. When we never signed Jamie Vardy from Leicester, they signed Lucas Perez. And they were saying, yeah, Lucas Perez has similarities to Jamie Vardy. He's a little bit smaller, he's quick, he plays on the shoulder. That doesn't mean anything. You saw Lucas Perez, he wasn't terrible, but that Jamie Vardy at the time, Golden Boot winner, title winner, couldn't stop scoring. So this guy was playing Football Manager when he was Arsenal sporting director. He was absolutely shocking. You look at Edu. I remember the moment we signed Edu, I said, you know what? The one positive about Edu, we are going to raid the Brazilian market. We're going to sign the new Vinicius, the new Neymar. You know, every time there's a top Brazilian, they go, it's the new Rivaldo, the new Ronaldinho, the new Neymar. I said, we're going to have top young Brazilians all over the place. This guy had Marquinhos crying in the Europa League. I give him credit for Gabriel Magalhaes. That was a top quality deal. Jesus didn't work out in the end. So even the contacts that Edu had, we didn't get them. But the only thing I'll say in his defence, there was a lot of rumours that he told Arsenal to sign Bruno Guimaraes. Arteta didn't do it. So they're saying at times he wasn't being listened to. But yeah, Willian on a 3-year deal. So this could be the biggest signing that we've made in years, Andrea Berta. Because I now think we've got a sporting director that's as good as Man City's, that's as good as Liverpool's. We're in contention of getting anybody if we've got the money. Rodrygo or Eze, it's not both. Who do you want? It's difficult because I love both players. I suppose the question you've got to ask is, where do we have the bigger problem? That's what you got to ask yourself. Is the bigger problem on the left or is the bigger problem in attacking midfield? I think the bigger problem's on the left. I think our left wing is a big, big problem. I don't think Trossard or Martinelli are good enough. I want both. I'm not even going to say which, well, I will. I'll say Rodrygo because I think the left-hand side is a huge problem. I think it's a huge problem. And the reason I'm going to say Rodrygo is this. I think if we sign Eze, we'll play Eze on the left. I think we'll play Eze on the left. So that's why I would go with Rodrygo. Because if I was signing Eze, I would play him in attacking midfield where Odegaard's playing and let them two compete. I think if he signs Eze, he will use Eze off the left. And I don't think Eze is a better left winger than Rodrygo. But do you know what? I don't even want to compromise and say, give me one or the other. We need to sign both of them. That's what we need to be doing. But listen, with the Gyokeres situation, sounds hopeful. He's meant to be back by Friday. So we should be expecting this deal to be done in the next 2 days. I hope the deal's done today. But by Thursday night, you would expect that deal has to be done. Arsenal fly to Spain this week as well, by the way. I want to make it abundantly clear, though. Even though I said Rodrygo, Eze is a player that I am desperate to see play for Arsenal. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And I've wanted him at Arsenal for a year or two. I wanted Elise and Eze. I wish we'd have got both of them from Palace, but I think Eze is absolutely brilliant. I really do. He plays off the cuff. He's strong. He ripped up Rice. I think he got better last season. FA Cup final goal, scored against us. I want both of them. And why should we not want both of them? We need a left winger, so get Rodrygo. We need a creative midfielder, so go and get Eze as well. Simple as that. We shouldn't even really have to choose one or the other. But we know finances will have an effect. And I'm still very doubtful that we can get Rodrygo. I've never fully been convinced that that deal is going to happen. Although I'd love to see it happen. So that's the latest with Gyokeres. Waiting game, next 48 hours. I mean, I keep refreshing Twitter. I'm hoping we get a here we go while we're live. But, you know, if we do get a here we go later on, I will go live. Hey, big up Potsy and Lee Judges for the raid, man. I'm assuming they were just live maybe at the same time. So big up your damn selves. Make sure you go and follow Football's 12th Man and Lee Judges TV. They're both putting out great content. Say no to Madueke. Madueke is a topic of discussion. I'm not bringing him up yet, but that whole sort of conversation around him is just intriguing. I don't get it. But yeah, we will talk about him. There are some reports coming out of Portugal apparently saying the deal is pretty much done, but and Akash put them up breaking. Gyokeres Arsenal will be completed in the next hours in the record in Portugal. I think the deal's close, you know. I think the deal's close. Because first of all, if you was Berta, you don't want to be in Portugal for days and days, do you? You've gone there to do business. You just want to get the deal done and get back. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, Arsenal go to Spain this week as well as part of their training camp. CNN Portugal is saying the deal is settled. Well, let's see if that breaks into... What happened on Sunday was very interesting. Portuguese media were reporting it in the morning, and then by about midday, the other media started reporting it. So they're reporting that. Let's see if we get a report today. If we get a here we go, I'll go live again as soon as that happens. I want to be live when that happens. Big C, when a player gets bought, does the player get paid the remainder of the wages on their deal for their current club, or does that get nullified? So no, you wouldn't really. The only way that would happen is if like the club is trying to get you out the door and release you. Then if you had a year left on your deal and they owed you, let's say, 5 million in wages, you would say, okay, if you want me to go, I want you to pay me up. And you would try and come to an agreement with the club. They would probably make you an offer. Okay, we'll give you 2 million. You might say, I want 4. You agree at 3.5. And that wouldn't be paid in one fee. What they would do is pay you on a monthly basis. So sometimes you have a situation where, just say for an example, a player gets released and he's getting paid up for another year. He signs for another club and he's getting paid effectively by 2 clubs at the same time. It happens with a lot of managers. Although sometimes they'll put a clause in your deal that once you sign for somebody else, they can stop paying you that wage. That's why a lot of the time managers get sacked and they don't take another job for a long time, because there'll be a clause saying once you get another job, we stop paying you your wages. So they'll wait a year or two. So there's all sorts of clauses in contracts and things like that. So yeah, it just depends how much they want to get rid of you and how much money they've got. Richard said, the fact he was arrested and bailed 7 times, mysterious injuries. Arteta doing up, he's been through so much. It's just good. Listen, I mean, it's difficult. It's very difficult, you know, in the sense of it's something that I won't not talk about. And I spoke about it in great detail the day it happened. It's very difficult to say things without knowing. It looks bad from the outside when you look at the club, right? It looks bad. But how much would they have known? Would the police have informed the football club what was happening? You know, this confidentiality, I'm not sure they're allowed to go to your employee and tell them what's happening in your case. You know, I just don't think they are. If you was on bail for something, could your manager at work get in contact with the police and find out information? I don't think they'd be allowed to give out that information. Now, obviously, Arsenal are a rich, big club. They'd have lawyers that would be looking into it. I don't know. It doesn't look good. We all know it doesn't look good. But Arsenal have kind of gone, it's nothing to do with us. It's not contracted by us. Big up everyone who's been sent in by Potsy and Judges, man. Big up your damn selves. Really appreciate the support as always. Judge and Potts sent us. Big up to Football's 12th man and Lee Judges TV. Yeah, rest in peace to Jota and his brother, man. Of course, man. That story is, I shouldn't even just say story. It's real life. I think it's one of the saddest, most almost disturbing things I've ever seen. I think ever. When you look at the whole thing, you're like, oh, it's mind-boggling. It's actually mind-boggling. And you have to wonder, don't you? And listen, I don't want to go off topic too much here, but don't you think that, and I don't know whether they can do this, but these guys are driving cars that cost, I don't know how much a new shaped Lambo is, but 400-500 grand, 700-800 grand, whatever they cost. Don't you think there should be something in a car that, like, if an engine explodes, it can contain it a little bit or slow it down, or as soon as fire comes out the engine, maybe water comes out to, I don't know. I know it sounds very simplistic what I'm saying, but you think to yourself, with all the technology that they've got nowadays, with all these designs and all these things, how can you just have a car that, if it catches fire, there's nothing you can do about it? Just absolutely nothing. I find it crazy, man. I really do. I know you can't fight physics, but do you know what I'm saying? It's like they've got so much technology nowadays. You just think, why is there no? It's mad. It is mad. That they have fire suppression systems in cars. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Some of you, I know Salman actually fixes cars, so he'll know a lot more than me. But yeah, that Jota news, man, is it's mind-boggling. I honestly can't lie, man. It's crazy. Carl says, would you rather offer Pulisic or Noni as a winger? That's a terrible question, man. I mean, I used to rate Pulisic, you know. I used to rate Pulisic before he went to Chelsea. I thought he was a very good, exciting player. But that, I don't know. I don't know how he's done at AC Milan. I don't want none of them. I don't want none. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't. If I answer, I'm basically saying that I'm allowing one of them, and I don't want any of them, Cole. It's like asking me two terrible dinners. I'd rather just go hungry. I don't want none of them. Richard said, I'm sorry, I don't back the players at all in this. Don't sign a 5-year contract with no release clause and then kick off. Listen, football, again, is egotistical. At the time, Gyokeres would have been saying, yo, man, I'm happy to be here. I'm leaving the championship. I'm going to Sporting Lisbon. Whatever you guys want to do, I'll accept it. 2 years later, you're the hottest striker in Europe. Yo, I ain't coming back to training. Bond that. Yo, the girlfriend, she's dumped. Keep your 2 million euros. I'm going Arsenal. Make sure you sell. It changes, don't it, you know? It changes. It is optional in the lower Lambos, but the high-end Lambos, it's standard equipment. A wrecked Lambo is hell to get out of, says Salman. It's crazy, man. F1 cars are engineered to stop explosions. Yeah, I know a lot of Arsenal fans, though, have been saying they don't like the attitude of Gyokeres, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Berta said, Jorge, sorry, says, Berta needs to sign players thinking Arteta might not be here in the future. I totally agree. Arteta needs to start feeling the pressure of winning. That there, I agree with every single word you're saying there. And that's why I didn't want Sesko. Because all I kept hearing with Sesko is he fits the system. Okay, but what about other systems? Can he fit other systems? Can he play on the shoulder? Can he play in the 18-yard box? Can he... Bon all that. Goal scorers fit all systems. It's as simple as that. Pep didn't play with the out-and-out striker for a couple of years. He went back to Ireland. they fit the system. He won the treble. So I agree. He needs to be under pressure. Lagos said, good God, I get a lot of fans have lost faith in Arteta, but the eagerness to blame Arteta for every sus decision coming out of Arsenal is MAGA-like. Give him blame and credit. Yeah, I hear you. And I'm probably even partly in that category sometimes. However, we're going off what was out there. He wanted Sesko. Sesko hasn't come here because of the money that they were demanding, so he's ended up going for Gyokeres. That is, from what we're reading, Arteta's second choice. That was Berta's first choice. So effectively, Berta will be the one who probably gets more credit for that because he's the one that has pushed for that deal from what we're hearing. SG said, how about Arsenal avoiding signing Noni, Gervinho and sign Eze and Rodrygo? That's what we want to be doing, SG, that's for sure. Guna John, apparently Forest are looking at Bakayoko. Why aren't we on that instead of Madueke? Ukulele, sorry. Just makes more sense financially. I absolutely echo that. Bakayoko for 25 million euros, and we're out here talking about Noni Mad who? Let's talk about Noni. Those super chats I'll leave there. We'll come back to them. Big up everyone locked in, man. 3,750 of you tuned in. This is the unfortunate part of the show. It is a great show. We're optimistic. We're hyped. This is the not so good part. Chelsea will want more than £50 million for Arsenal to sign Noni Madueke. They believe the current market justifies such a figure, given West Ham's valuation of Mohamed Kudus and Nottingham Forest having agreed a deal worth £52 million for Anthony Elanga with Newcastle. I mean, this deal, every time I look at it, every time I read about it, every time I think about it, the deal gets worse and worse in my head. It gets worse every time I think about it. I've actually tried to act like a top gooner in my head. I've tried to be a top gooner. I've said, right, sit back, take yourself out of your current mindset, try and dress it up as a positive. How? Well, I suppose as backup for Saka, it's not terrible. He does have pace. He is left-footed. He can play on the left. I've tried. It doesn't work. I can't do it. I can't do it. I tried, people, but I can't do it. First of all, paying over £50 million at Arsenal, you should be signing somebody that can make a significant impact on your team. We are not Manchester City. We don't drop 50 million regularly on squad players. So, second of all, he needs to be a player that you look at and go, he's exciting. He can do. I just don't think he's that good. Number one, you're potentially pushing out Nwaneri. Number two, we're paying over £50 million to Chelsea, who apparently have got PSR issues. So you're helping Chelsea balance the books. And you're also probably going to stop yourself from buying somebody else. As we said earlier, people, I don't see any way how Arsenal can go Zubimendi, Madueke, Eze, Rodrygo, Gyokeres, Mosquera, Norgard, Kepa. They can't spend. That's over £300 million. Plus wages, plus signing on fees. It's not happening. Let's make one thing abundantly clear, people. If we sign Madueke, we are not signing Eze or Rodrygo. One of those deals will completely stop. And I think that's a disgrace. Because they're the two you should be targeting. Like you said, Bakayoko costs you 25 million. Perfectly good backup player for Saka, if that's what you want. I used to joke, didn't I, with E. Ross, English tax Ross. I said, yo, this English tax thing ain't no joke. It isn't no joke, people, because you've got to have so many English players in your squad. I don't know where we're at with English players right now. But maybe they need to add English players to the squad. I'm not sure. And when you look at English talent out there, I mean, they were looking at Gahey. They couldn't get him because they couldn't guarantee him football. I mean, I'm looking at the stats. Noni Madueke last season in the Premier League, 7 goals and 3 assists. So 10 goal contributions in 32 games. So 10 GA in 32 games. I mean, Elanga had 17 goal contributions last season, 6 goals and 11 assists. So Alanga put up better numbers than Madueke. He did play 6 games more than him, to be fair, but he put up better numbers. He got 7 more GA than him. And I don't even think Alanga's that good. To be honest, he's rapid, but I wouldn't want Alanga at Arsenal. So this guy is putting up worse numbers than Anthony Alanga. Yet Chelsea are saying, oh, Kudus going to go for 55, 60 million. So Madueke, mate, you're going to have to give us 55 million. For what? What the hell has this guy done for you to justify that? That's my problem. Honestly, if they were buying him for 30 million, I'd go, I'm not a big fan of him, but at 30 million, what 30 million gets you nowadays, it's not the end of the world. For 50 million, I think it's absolute insanity to go through with this deal. Now, what I will say is David Ornstein said in The Athletic that Arsenal have not yet approached Chelsea for any discussions regarding the player, even though there are other sources saying that they have, but he says they haven't. He just said there's a general idea that they want over 50 million and Arsenal are willing to pay about 40 million. So we're at least 10 million away from what they want. I just hope Arsenal don't get there. I hope this is just Berta negotiating with a number of players at once before pulling the trigger. I just don't understand the deal. I really don't. I understand that Arsenal might be looking at it and saying, Saka tore his hamstring last season, right? We need to manage him better this season, and we need a genuine player that can come into the team that Arteta trusts to play multiple games. He obviously, for whatever reason, doesn't view Nwaneri as that player. A lot of the reports are saying Arsenal view Nwaneri as Odegaard's backup. They still view him as a central attacking midfielder. They don't view Nwaneri as the right wing cover. Now, that's fair enough. I've no problem with that. So if they feel they need a winger that can play on the right, that can cover Saka, that's fine. But I think you've got better options than this. I don't think you have to spend that much money on the backup. I just don't think you have to. And if you was spending 50 mil, I mean, yeah, I'd rather sign Mohamed Kudus all day long, by the way. All day long. Levels above Madueke. If he's going to cost. Tottenham are going to buy Kudus, and we're going to buy Madueke for a similar price. We tried to sign Mohamed Kudus from Ajax, so why don't we go to West Ham and buy him? So, I don't know. Again, I'm going to put my faith in Berta that you're not going to allow this deal to happen. Because I don't rate this guy. I just don't rate him. I tried to force myself to rate him. I even went on YouTube and watched some highlights clip. To be honest, he whipped up a few right backs, but I just think he lacks end product. I think he's one of them players that they're just quick. They do a lot of running. He doesn't produce a lot at the end of those runs. So, yeah, I tried to be a top gooner, but it just didn't work. And I know, yeah, Kudus, his numbers weren't great last year, but West Ham were terrible last year, man. They were so bad. I don't think Berta will allow it to happen. I really hope so. And I actually thought Ethan did well on the right. So I didn't think there was a desperate need for a right winger. This is what I would do. Saka on the right, Nwaneri is the backup. Odegaard, attacking midfielder. You sign Eze to compete with him. Sign Rodrygo on the left and you sell Trossard or Martinelli. Gyokeres goes in up front. Havertz or Marino is the backup. I'd probably have Marino as the backup and get rid of Havertz. You're going into a season with, let's say, Rodrygo and Martinelli. Eze and Odegaard. Saka and Nwaneri. Gyokeres and Marino. Then I'd be confident. Instead, he's probably going to go in with Saka and Madueke, Odegaard, and probably Eze and Martinelli. Because that's what I think is going to happen. I've got no belief that we're getting Rodrygo. I just don't think it's going to happen. I hope it does. But let's see. Let's see. Elliot said, told you Curtis trust Berta and Glock 9 is the guy. As a Roddy and coming, yo. SJ, why didn't we get Osimhen or consider him? There's something about Osimhen that I don't have. It confuses me. So many clubs need a striker. He's got a 65 million release clause. Why is nobody buying him? I've no idea. Genuinely. Osimhen's one of the most prolific strikers in Europe. Chelsea have just bought Delap and João Pedro. Man United need a striker. Arsenal need a striker. Liverpool probably going to need a striker if Darwin's sold. And nobody is going for Osimhen. It must be the wage demands. It's got to be the wage demands. Yeah, I don't get it. I think he's using that Saudi offer as leverage to get crazy wages off clubs in Europe, and they won't pay it. For an offence like that, you'd have to inform work, says Richard. He's still talking about the party thing. Yeah, but who knows? How many details would he reveal? It's just hard to judge, really. What is our bizarre obsession with balancing Chelsea's books? Conspiracy theory, I reckon they've got us out of debt years ago. There was rumours after the Invincible season, Arsenal were heading back into bankruptcy, which is why we had to move stadium. I wonder if Chelsea made us a huge loan or something, because this ain't normal, how many Chelsea players we're buying. Ryan said, if we get Rodrygo, I rate Nani as second to Gabby, not for the right wing. Ethan has to stay and play for 40 million or less. Yeah, I hear you. Sebastian Madueke could be used as leverage to cheapen Eze. That's what I'm hoping. Maybe they're saying to Palace, look, Eze or Madueke. Miss said, if Arteta wants Madueke, give him a... Yo. Oh, my days. He needs to get out of that deal, I'm telling you. He needs to get out of that one. Let's talk about... There's a lot going on, by the way, at the moment, isn't there? Nearly 4,000 of you in the chat. Got a few more stories to get through. This has broken while I've been live. I've seen a few of you have put it in the comments, so I'll just throw this story up there before we get into the remaining couple of stories. I have to say, by the way, before I share this story, this is not a deal that I'm in favour of. Team News and Tickets has said, Anthony Gordon's camp has revealed his agent was at Arsenal's Sober Realty Training Centre last week, but the winger does share an agent with Ethan Nwaneri. So, again, there's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes. Oh, Gordon's agent's at the training ground, but he's also Nwaneri's agent. So the likelihood is he's at the training ground to discuss Nwaneri's contract. I've said for a long time, I don't want Anthony Gordon. I think he's a good left winger. I don't think he's as good as people make out. I think he's good, but the way he's rated, I don't really get it. Last season, 6 goals, 5 assists. He cost nearly £50 million. I think he's at the right level. I mean, I've seen Liverpool link with him. I mean, is he better than Luis Diaz and Gakpo? I just don't see. And you've got to remember, the first thing you've got to say, right, if Newcastle paid nearly 50 million for him, what are they going to sell him for? 75 million, probably, 80 million. I wouldn't go anywhere near Anthony Gordon for 70 plus million pound. Nowhere near him. Nowhere near him. I think he's overrated, honestly. When I say that, I want people to understand. I'm not saying he's a bad player. If you said to me, Anthony Gordon, I'd say, yeah, he's all right. He's quick, he's direct, he can cause you a problem. He's like, yeah, he's a bit of an English Martinelli. Just raises his head up more often. Yeah, he's a kind of Martinelli with a bit more awareness around the penalty area. He's got great work rate, never stops running, he's quick, direct. He's not that good. So I don't want Arsenal to go anywhere near Anthony Gordon. I don't think he's that good. Clear Boulding FC, as they called him. Big up Big C in the community. Hope you're well, Black. Big up each and every time. Big up Isak with the super sticker. Appreciate that as always to you. And big up the nearly 4,000 people who are locked in. I rate Harvey Barnes. You know, at one stage, Harvey Barnes I thought was going to be a real top winger when he was at Leicester. Just hasn't really kicked on, has he? He's injury prone as well. Couple more stories. Let's talk about Eberechi Eze, because for me, this is a player that we need to sign. So let's talk about the story and let's break down the story. Miguel Delaney put out an article this morning. He said Arsenal are working on a bid that could allow them to sign Eberechi Eze without a substantial sale this summer. Arsenal are aiming on a structure that will amount to 3 installments of 20 million, and there is a hope that a suitable deal can be worked out. Now, I want to break down a couple of things that he's saying in this. I want to break them down. So he's saying that if they can sign Eze with a good payment plan, they don't need to sell anybody substantial to balance the books and make that deal happen. Because we've heard a lot of other people saying that for Arsenal to sign Rodrygo, they would probably have to sell Martinelli to balance the books. Real Madrid are not going to take no 20 million over 3 years. They pay the money or get out. My first thought of this is, okay, that sounds great. If I'm Crystal Palace, why would they take that deal? That's my first thought. If they do, great. Maybe they think, look, Eze, you've been brilliant for us. You've won us an FA Cup. You've got us in Europe. We'll allow you to go and we'll go easy on the payment thing. But if I'm in Crystal Palace's position, you lost Elise last year. You're probably going to lose Eze. He's your best player. Why would you allow Arsenal to pay 20 million over 3 years? He's your best player. They've got a release clause. Surely they would say, pay the release clause or get out the building. Have we got a great relationship with Crystal Palace? We sold them Eddie Nketiah for 30 million last year, which is daylight robbery. So probably not, to be honest. They probably think we owe them money. Listen, if Palace are prepared to do that deal, boy, thank you very much. We love that deal. But I just don't see from a Crystal Palace point of view why you would allow your best player to leave on some Klarna/layaway payment plan. I don't get it. You would say, release clause there, pay the money. Unless that is the structure of the release clause. But then it says they're working on a bid that could allow them. If it was public knowledge that that release clause was 20 million for 3 years, then you wouldn't need to work on it. It's already there and it's written. I just don't know if Palace are going to do that. He hasn't got a year left on his deal. He's got 2 years. So they don't have to sell Eze this summer. Surely they could go, look, European football this year, just keep him for 1 more year, sell him next season. So I don't. Also, what's interesting about what they're saying there, they don't need a significant deal. What I think Arsenal are going to do is, and it pains me to say this, I think they're going to sign Madueke to cover the right, and I think they're going to sign Eze to be the left winger / attacking midfielder. That's what I think they're going to do. And because of the structure of that payment, they won't need to sell Trossard or Martinelli. And they can keep all of them and just have loads of wingers and attacking players and rotate all of them. Maybe they'll let Trossard go if Fenerbahce make an offer for him. That's what I think they're going to do. I think they'll look at Eze and go, right, we can play Eze off the left. But if Odegaard starts stinking out the place, at least we've got the replacement for Odegaard. So, you know, Arteta likes these versatile players that can play multiple positions. And I think they're looking at Rodrygo and saying, look, he's going to cost 70, 80 million. It's Real Madrid. They're not going to accept any kind of Klarna business. Rodrygo's already on £200,000 a week and he's going to want a pay rise. So Rodrygo's going to be 250, 300 grand a week wages, 70, 80 million. And you've got to probably sell Martinelli to balance the books. They probably don't want to do all that. Where they're looking at Eze and going, look, 60 million, 3 payments of 20. We can keep Martinelli. We can probably keep Trossard. And we can just have a bigger squad. So I've always felt that it was Rodrygo or Eze, not Rodrygo and Eze. That's what I think. Because if you buy Rodrygo for 80 million. You're buying him to play him left wing and start him left wing. So then what happens with Eze if you've just paid 68 million for him? He's not playing on the left because Rodrygo's there. And is he going to drop Martin Odegaard, who's his captain, one of his favourite players, for Eze? I don't think he is. So I think it's one or the other. And I think it's more likely to be Eze. Now, I love Eze. I desperately want Arsenal to sign Eze. I just don't know how good Eze would be on the left. We'd have to use him in a slightly different manner. But I suppose, listen, when you're finishing the season with Martinelli, Havertz and Saka as your front three, and you're starting the next season with Eze, Gyokeres and Saka as your front three, it is still a significant improvement. It is still a significant improvement. I just don't know how Eze would look on the left wing for Arsenal. What happens to our left wing if our left wing is drifting and our left back is inverting? It's like we've got no left-hand side whatsoever. So that would be my only concern. But they were obviously trying to work out the structure of the deal. Arsenal, what's clear is Arsenal are struggling to sell players. We're struggling to sell players. We know that Reece Nelson can go. We've heard no real links to Reece Nelson. There was a little link to Fulham. That's gone quiet. Zinchenko was being linked with Milan. That's gone quiet. Maybe that will develop because Theo Hernandez to Al Hilal is now at here we go. So Milan will need a left back now. So hopefully they come back for Zinchenko. But we know the wages was a problem. Sambi Lokonga's back at Arsenal. We've had to extend his contract to just try and get money for him. He'll probably end up getting loaned out for another season. Nobody seems to have made an offer for him. Martinelli, Trossard on the left, none of them have really had a major offer. Fabio Vieira we need to get rid of. Nobody seems to, Porto surely, if they wanted him, would have said, look, yeah, we'll buy him at the end of that contract. Nobody's come in for him. Jesus is still injured. We've had to let Tomiyasu go for nothing. So clearly we're finding it very difficult to sell players, and that's because we've got average players on big wages. Always makes life very difficult to sell these guys. And we'll have to see what happens. They've put out another bit of a story about Eze. Let's get that one. We couldn't sell a bag of rice, says Karosh. You're not wrong, bro. I'm telling you, we couldn't sell rice to a chef. We're all over the place when it comes to selling, but Andrea Berta is determined to sign Eberiche Eze and will try to convince Crystal Palace, who might consider accepting a promising defender as part of the deal. While the player being considered as a makeway in the deal is not known, Sunsport understands he is an emerging star who's played a handful of games in the first team. Who is that? What young defender have we got that they would take as part of the deal? Does it say a young player, a promising defender? Deal is not known. He's an emerging star who's played a handful of... We ain't got one. Would it be Kivior? Would it be Kivior? Kivior for Eze. And then use Calafiori as left back, as left centre back cover. But they're saying promising... You would think that if you're Palace and they're going to lose Guehi to Liverpool, you would think maybe that Kivior would be the one that they would ask for, because Kivior probably would start for Palace left centre back and be pretty decent. It would have to be Kivior. Yeah, is he still considered promising? Ain't he like 25? It would have to. We haven't got no one else. Josh Nichols. I mean, I can't imagine it would be Josh Nichols. He's hardly kicked a ball for us. If they took Josh Nichols, that'd be unreal. Zinchenko, I mean, he's definitely not a promising defender. He can't defend. So, interesting. I like the fact, again, I like it when I hear that Berta wants him, because this is the guy we should get. Let's see what happens with that. I think what Arsenal are doing is playing a waiting game. I think Arsenal are saying, look, if there is an opportunity that we can get Rodrygo, then we might have to go for that. Berta will know him well from Real Madrid. Arteta, of course, will know him. And I think it will become more clear once the Club World Cup finishes this weekend what is happening with Rodrygo once he gets back to Spain and probably has another meeting. He's hardly kicked a ball in the Club World Cup. So they've probably told Eze and his agent, listen, just give us a week or two to figure out what's happening with Rodrygo. If Rodrygo doesn't happen, we come back and we say, let's get this Eze deal done and try and get it at a decent price that doesn't mash us up financially. So I think that's what's happening. I think they're waiting for the situation to become clearer with Rodrygo. But yeah, this is interesting. Surely that player is Kivior. Could it be Ben White? I mean, Ben White played for Brighton, who are Palace's rivals. Be interesting. Let's see. It's a lot of hearsay at the moment, so I'm not too sure. Club World Cup, I think, finishes Sunday. I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow, by the way. PSG against Real Madrid. So we'll see what's happening with Rodrygo there. I'm not doing a watch along for the Chelsea game tonight, though. Trevor said I would give Martinelli one more season at left wing. Let's sign Eze or Rodrygo. If it came to a decision, Gyokeres and Eze will get the best out of him. I said if I had to sell Trossard or Martinelli, I would sell Trossard. But if a huge offer came in for Martinelli, then I would sell him. But let's say clubs aren't making offers for Martinelli, which it sounds like the Saudi clubs aren't actually in for him now, then I would get rid of Trossard. Year left, Fenerbahce want him, get him out. Have two quick wingers that are direct and see what happens. Lynch said, I'm sticking with Gyokeres and Eze, would win us the league. It would give us a lot more confidence, Lynch. Henry said, the issue with Osimhen is not the initial fee, but the wages. His demand is 400k a week. He's been offered 250 after tax by Galatasaray. That's 400 plus UK. Yeah, the wages are crazy. And the tax is high here. So for him to get, like you said, he would have to get crazy wages. Aboud said, Liverpool will probably go in for Rodrygo. I don't think we beat that next season. We need him to come to Arsenal. I think if he became available, I think you could see Liverpool, you could see Man City, you could see a number of clubs. I think Bayern want a left winger as well. So that's the other thing you got to worry about. If Rodrygo's on the market and he ends up at a rival, then we'd be in trouble there. True story, I'm from Sweden. I talked to some journalist here, and he said that Gyokeres has already packed his stuff and put his house up for sale and searching for a house in London. I hope your sources are true. You know, I hope your sources are true. Kivior would be a good signing for Palace. I think he would. I actually think he would. Let's talk briefly about Ethan Nwaneri. Team News and Tickets has said Ethan Nwaneri's contracts talks are headed in the right direction. The holdup was due to the players' camp requesting further things, but also not wanting to discuss the deal during the under-21 European Championships. Now, Nwaneri is obviously going to report back late for pre-season as he was with the England under-21s at the Euros, which they won that. Although he wasn't starting many games, which was a little bit disappointing. They were playing Amari Hutchinson and Harvey Elliott out wide, and he was on the bench, but he did feature in most games, came on in the final. So he's having a break. Arsenal have to get this deal done. I didn't realise, that Nwaneri only has a year left on his contract, which is very, very dangerous, because if his agent doesn't feel like he's going to get game time, best believe there's a lot of clubs that would take him. Including Chelsea, are already being heavily linked to him. Apparently, he wants guarantees about where his future lies, how he's going to play, blah, blah, blah. You would want to. He's developing. He can't afford to sit on the bench all year. So let's see what happens with him. As I said, a lot of work to do for Berta this summer. We still have not got Saka, Saliba, Nwaneri to sign new contracts. We're still negotiating Mosquera. We're still negotiating Gyokeres, the left winger, whether that's Rodrygo or Eze. They're in talks with Madueke. We got to sell Lokonga, Zinchenko, multiple other players, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson. That guy Berta's going to be working the whole summer, man. I can see Ethan at Dortmund. He'd become a superstar at Dortmund. They're so good at developing young players. So they got to be careful, man. His contract now needs to be like 5 years, this new deal. They need to give him proper money. Fabrizio also tweeted that Arsenal have finalised the signing of Norgard. I Are Arsenal ever going to announce this? Are we that unexcited that they're not even going to announce it? Arsenal finalised the signing of Norgard. The deal is worth 10 million with 2 million in potential add-ons. He has completed his medical. Official announcement is expected by the end of the week. Norgard, I don't know how I feel about that deal, to be honest, but yeah. Does it? I don't even know if it needs an announcement. No disrespect. Well, kind of doesn't. It's just one of them where they can just write it, Arsenal. Arsenal have completed the sign of Christian Norgard. Welcome to the club. Okay, fair enough. We don't need the video. We don't need the behind-the-scenes YouTube video either. But anyway, listen, people. Big up to everyone locked in. Been a great show. 4,000 of you tuned in. When we get that Here We Go. I'm saying when because I believe it's going to happen. When we get that Here We Go from Fabrizio for Gyokeres, we will go live again. I'll be back tomorrow again at 1:30, and I'll be back tomorrow evening for PSG against Real Madrid watch along. I'm on AFTV tonight at 7 with Cecil, so if you're about, tune in for that. If not, 1:30 here tomorrow or tomorrow evening for PSG Real Madrid. Big up to everyone. Hit the like button and subscribe. Hopefully Gyokeres is on his way to the carpet, people. See you soon. Bless.